Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 6, Episode 16. Y'all, this is the episode before the finale, and all I can say is, won't he do it?
Thank you, God. Thank you. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus.
This episode, I'm not even gonna hold you. It was quite boring. It really felt like a chore to get through, and I'm gonna keep saying it, but the way I am just so disappointed, I feel like this season was a complete letdown. And honestly, Potomac could have come back in 2022. I feel like they came back with season 6 way too soon. I was not expecting them to come back in July. But anyhow, I digress. Now, before we jump into this recap, I want to give you guys the biggest thank you because the love that y'all showed me this past Thursday, if you don't know, I was on Bravo's IG Live with Ashley Darby. Of all the Bravo celebrities they could have paired me with. And I have to say, I had a great time. It was such an amazing opportunity. Finding out that the people at Bravo know who I am, like the execs are watching. So that's a huge deal.
Price went up. Yesterday's price is not today's price. Yesterday's price is not today's price.
Thank you guys for all the love that you guys showed me. I couldn't say anything about it because I was sworn to secrecy. You know, it's kind of like how Beyonce makes people sign NDAs. Yeah, so I could not talk about it until the live. It's still up on Bravo's IG page. They still have it saved, so you can check me out if you did not catch the live. And we had a great time. We played Never Have I Ever Housewives Edition. And all I have to say to all you guys who were like, I hope you told her off. Now you guys know good and well that I'm not going to sit up here and show my behind in front of Bravo executives, all right? I am there to be professional. Whoever they had on that screen, I was going to be nice and friendly. I was going to have a big old smile on my face because the opportunity to be on Bravo, that is like my dream, okay? So to have this opportunity, I want to say thank you again to Bravo. I had the best time ever. But I did let Ashley know on that live that her and this season of Potomac is wearing me thin, okay? I was like, child, this season is wearing me out. And one more announcement. I bought the book. Yes, I will be doing a recap or I'll be going live and we'll chat about this book, okay? But I have not started reading it yet. Hopefully I finish within the next 2 weeks. And then I will be, again, either going live or doing a recap, and we are going to talk, all right? Because they said that this book is everything. But with all of that being said, let's just jump right on into this recap because we don't have a minute to spare. The episode starts off with everybody back at the house. Wendy's telling them that dinner starts at 7:30. We see everybody getting ready. And then we see Giselle and Robin in their room with the twin beds, upset and complaining. Now, I thought that you guys had gotten a hotel stay for the entire weekend. I didn't know you only got a hotel stay for just one night. So now we see the chef and the staff coming over to help set up the table for the dinner. And when I tell you that food looked absolutely amazing. I love a crab boil, and you guys know me, I am always here to discuss the food across every single franchise, all right? So if you're a new subscriber, welcome and get used to it because this one is always gonna talk about food. But my mouth was salivating, like watering up. Like it's watering up just speaking about it. So everybody goes outside to eat, and the table was set up beautifully. I said, finally, they're going to have a fairly decent night with some good food. So they all sit down. Mia makes a joke to Wendy that this is the fanciest crab boil she's ever been to. Since they're outside and it's a bit chilly, Wendy had blankets for some of the ladies. And then Gordon, we see, goes inside. He's like, it's just too cold for him. Wendy makes a toast to Candace's album. And then she makes a toast to Karen and Ray celebrating 25 years of marriage. Karen lets them know to open their invitations outside when they arrive. So they're like, oh, I mean, okay, like I wonder what the surprise is. So now we see Ashley asking Eddie a whole bunch of questions about his family. Because we remember last season, Eddie and Wendy revealed that Eddie's family did not come to the wedding. They did not support the marriage to Wendy. So they have not even met the grandkids, okay? So Ashley's like, have you talked to your mom? Eddie says that he has. He talked to her a few weeks ago, actually. So now Ashley's prying even more, asking, did she ask about your kids? And Eddie says, well, the only thing that she will say is, how's the family doing? So I guess that's a start. So everybody at the table says, we're praying for you guys, and that's good that there's some progress being made. And then Escala jumps in and says how she's going to pray healing over their family. This situation is very sad, and a part of me feels like the only reason why Eddie's family is now reaching out and they're open to talking to him is because he and his wife are now on one of the hottest reality TV shows. That's my guess. Eddie is nicer than me because if my family showed their asses like that and didn't want anything to do with me for a number of years, they could stay right where they're at. That's just how I feel about it, though. But I understand that, he wants his kids to know his family. And I was also shaking my head at Ashley bringing this up. Like, if you know that's a sore spot for somebody, why bring that up? Especially when you guys are trying to have a fun dinner. Like, why can't Ashley ever bring up something fun? Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I just felt like, girl, you have to have some other topics than talking about somebody's family drama. So now Ashley goes from asking Eddie all these personal questions to Gordon coming back outside to join them, and now she and Gordon get back into it. Ashley keeps bringing up how he was interrupting her trying to sleep when she was on the bus. So he's like, what are you talking about? So now she says, you got amnesia or something? You have Alzheimer's? So Mia's like, I know you didn't just ask if my man has Alzheimer's. And it's so funny to me that nobody at the table told Ashley that she was wrong for that comment. Because had that been Candace who had made that remark about Gordon having Alzheimer's, they all would have jumped down her throat and told her how wrong she was. Am I right or am I right? Because we all know that the double standards on this show are glaring. And we all know why the double standards exist. Because of a little thing called colorism. But again, I digress. So Mia's really pissed. She's like, Ashley, as a woman married to an older man herself, those words should never come out of your mouth. So now Ashley's like, I'm not ageist. Now, girl, stop lying again. Because over the seasons when you and Karen would get into it, you were always coming for Karen's age. Always. We can play the tape back. Okay, so please miss me with that I'm not ageist. You are, and just own it. So now Gordon apologizes to Ashley, or he kind of pseudo-apologizes to Ashley because he says, well, Ashley, I'm sorry if you were offended, but I don't take what I said back. So Ashley's upset, and she's like, you know what, Gordon? I don't need your apology. Just take it back. Keep it. Like, I don't need that if that's what you're going to say to me. So Mia jumps back in and says, look, again, you should never wish Alzheimer's on somebody. So Ashley says, well, I said amnesia the first time. Like, can you not hear? You have selective hearing. It's funny how Ashley has a way of deflecting when she's called out for her mouth. Because the fact that she couldn't just apologize and say, you know what? I'm sorry. I took that too far. I shouldn't have said anything about Alzheimer's. That's a very serious disease to make a joke about. I'm just saying. And you want to get on Candace about body shaming because she called you wide at the restaurant? But when you say that, do you have Alzheimer's to somebody's husband, that's okay. Got it. And a lot of y'all Ashley fans who want to defend her to the bitter end have that same energy for your fave. Because she was out of line for saying that to G. And it was really interesting how Giselle and Robin didn't say anything like, you know what, Ashley, you were out of order for that one. But they're quick to jump down Candace's throat anytime she says something. But like I've said in past recaps, they will always have Ashley's back. And we know the reason for that. But again, let me just get off of that, child. So now Mia says to Ashley, girl, where's your husband? And Ashley's really upset. And she's like, he's at home with our kids. And Mia says, are you sure? And you could tell that Ashley was shook because she can't say definitively that her husband really is home watching their kids. He might be in DC all right, but you don't know for sure if he's home with those babies. He could have very well left those babies with your mother or the nanny. And we know that Michael has cheated before. So it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could be cheating again while you're there at the Chesapeake Bay. So then Ashley's like, so Mia, do you have anything else that you'd like to say to me? So now Gordon interjects and says, Ashley, do you need a hug? And Mia says, she needs some dick. She needs some big black dick. That's really what she needs. And I was screaming. Now, y'all know how I feel about Mia. I don't care for her. I want her off this show. She irks me to no end. But I'll be lying if I told you I wasn't here for her at this dinner table. So while Ashley, Gordon, and Mia are all arguing at the table, Wendy, Eddie, and Karen have gotten up and they're like by the bushes because Wendy and Eddie are going to put Karen in this big cake so that she can jump out and surprise Ray. Now that just seemed really silly to me only because I felt like if Karen was going to jump out of the cake, she should have had on a different outfit. Like, I just thought it was kind of lame for her to be jumping out of this fake cake in the same outfit that they had seen her in at dinner. But again, I guess it's just something to do for the show. So now Wendy and Eddie roll the cake over and they're like, Ray, we have a surprise for you. Ray's making a joke like, is she naked? And Karen pops out of the cake. Nobody's impressed or amused. They're all kind of rolling their eyes at the table, especially Giselle. Giselle makes a joke like Karen should have been naked, like she should have had some whipped cream on her nipples and stuff like that. Then she's like, ugh, like I don't even want to picture that image in my head. But girl, you're the one who said it. Like, I don't know. I'm just kind of tired, like I've been saying, of Karen and Giselle going at it. For season 7, just be friends. Like, this beef between y'all is really tired. So the dinner's over. Everybody's going back into the house. And Wendy says that she gives herself a 10 for her hosting skills for this trip. Robin says that Wendy was a horrible hostess and gives Wendy a -5. Now, Wendy, I like you and everything, but let me say, I do not think that your hosting skills were a 10 on anybody's scale. Maybe a cute 6 or 7, but not a 10. Because if it were a 10, you would have had a private chef there the entire time. That boat ride would have been a lot more fun. Okay? You would have had some staff and housekeeping there. You would have had valet for the parking of the cars when people arrive. So no, it was definitely not a 10. This was a very boring trip. And I also felt like the house that she picked out for everybody, like, I don't know, I felt like the style reminded me of like a library or a small school. That did not scream sexy vacation getaway house at all. Candace definitely won in the house department when she had her trip to Williamsburg. I'm just saying. Now, Robin, you want to sit up here and say that she was a -5, but the gag is it was revealed that there was another master bedroom with a bathroom attached. So you and Giselle made a whole scene for nothing. And it's really irritating that production did not show us that there was indeed another master bedroom for you guys to share. Because it would have shown what true jackasses y'all were being about the house. And it's trying to give Wendy a hard time for nothing. And Robin, we haven't seen you host a whole lot during your time on this show. Yes, you had the Turks and Caicos trip in season 4, and then you had you and Juan's engagement party last season, but you haven't really hosted much else. So I would pipe down talking about Wendy is a -5 in the hosting arena. And one more thing, not when your best friend was out here hosting a party at a construction site with hardly a morsel of food. Now that's a -5 to me. But again, I digress. We move on to a short scene with everybody back at home, and Karen and Ray's vow renewal invitations come in. I was cracking up because they were all screaming once they got it. It was some beautiful butterflies. Well, actually, some of the butterflies were dead. And I was cracking up because when Giselle was opening up her invitation, and some of the butterflies just, popped out and hit the ground immediately because they were dead. And she was like, "What are these, mothballs?" And her daughter was like, "Mom, they're butterflies. Like, can you stop?" Karen, I understood the vision, but next time I wouldn't do the butterflies because most of the butterflies were dead. And I was hollering when Candace opened up her invitation and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I thought that they were roaches." And Wendy was at her house, so she was like, "No, girl, they're not roaches, they're butterflies." Now we see another short scene with Mia and Gordon talking. They're discussing some drama with Mia's mom. Mia says in her confessional that her and Gordon took a cute staycation after they came back from the Chesapeake Bay because they wanted to celebrate their 8th wedding anniversary. Well, remember how Mia's mom was watching the kids when they were in the Chesapeake? They also asked her mom to watch their kids for this staycation. So Mia says that her mom got overwhelmed. She had called them up because she didn't know what to feed the kids. So Mia ended up leaving the hotel and coming home to see her kids. Gordon's upset because Mia's mom lashed out on him and he stood there and took it quietly. So Mia says that she just does not want to expose her kids to the mess between her and her mom, and how this situation brought up some old memories of how her mom used to get upset and then leave. Now, Mia, you claim that you and Gordon make so much money, so why is it so hard for you to find a babysitter to watch your kids? Like, help me understand it. If I knew that my mom had all this baggage, if our relationship was still, sort of strained, it's not quite at 100%, I would not be asking her to watch my kids. Like, girl, hire a nanny. Ask Ashley for a referral. It seems like you're in some competition with your sister because your sister and your mom are super close and your mom watches her kids, so you want to have this closeness and have her watch your kids as well. But if you know that your mom harbors some feelings against you, then don't have her watch your children. Period, point blank. I think that Mia needs to put some distance between her and her mom. And when her mom is ready to reach out, then they can maybe think about starting over in their relationship. We move on to Giselle and her daughters. They're at a nursery picking out some plants for the front of their house. And Giselle starts asking them if she should bring a date to Karen's vow renewal. Then she wants to know how they feel about her dating. They're like, we want you to date. You should date because we don't want you to die alone. But from the looks of it, it looks like you're headed that way. And the way her daughters get her together every single time. Giselle is obviously stunned by her daughter's answers. And she goes on to say that she's casually dating. So they're like, wait, really? Like, you are? They don't really buy it. The producer's confused, like, wait, you're dating somebody? Like, what's his name? Who is he? Giselle says, MYOB, it is none of your business. So now Giselle tells her daughters that she's emotionally unavailable with men, and her daughters agree. So Giselle's daughters go on to say how it's harder for them because they never see Giselle in any relationships. Then I think it's the oldest one, Grace, who tells her that it's hard to look up to her and Jamal because they have never seen a marriage before. And I remember Giselle saying in an interview years ago how she divorced Jamal Bryant when the girls were like 2 and 6 months. So those girls never saw any semblance of a marriage. So Giselle is taking it all in. She's visibly hurt at what her daughters are telling her. And then she says, wow, this is worse than I thought. She goes on to say, look, emotionally, I'm tough as nails, but I should have communicated to your father about my needs and like what I thought, but I didn't do that, and that's 100% on me. Then one of the twins says that she never shows any emotion. It's like she's a vampire. Then Giselle says she's going to work on it. And they're like, girl, it's been 50 years of struggle. Like, if you haven't been able to be vulnerable and open up now, it's probably not going to happen later on. But I love how they're able to be open and honest with Giselle about how they feel, and she is open to hearing it. I think Giselle also felt bad hearing her daughter say that they can't even look up to their father. And we all know about Jamal Bryant and his escapades and how he has always been a philanderer. So I just feel like they see their mom, she's cold as ice, doesn't have the best track record when it comes to relationships, and then a father who can't even seem to be in a relationship because he can't be faithful to one woman. So they definitely do not have the best examples when it comes to relationships. I do hope that Giselle can be in a loving relationship. And on top of that, I do want her to be more vulnerable with just everybody that she encounters. Just drop all this villain, mean girl, ice queen stuff. Just leave that alone. Like, you're just too old to be acting this way. And I think her daughters are tired. And I'm sure the kids at school must make remarks about their mom. Like, you know your mom is rude, right? Because you know these kids talk and they watch these shows too, and they hear what their parents are saying. So I think that they're kind of tired of their mom's antics as well. But again, I digress. We move on to Ashley. I'm going to breeze over this scene. You guys know I don't care about Ashley's non-existent storyline. I don't care to talk about the problems that she's still having with Michael when it is clear as day that Michael is not interested in being in a monogamous marriage whatsoever. He wanted open threesomes, orgies, all of that jazz. And she wants to be a traditional housewife, and that's not what he signed up for. But anyhow, Ashley goes to see her therapist, Dr. Donna, and she brings her baby Dylan with her. Ashley's lamenting about how every time she tries to initiate anything sexual with Michael, he turns her down. He's either tired, wants to go to bed, he's just not interested, and she feels terrible. So the therapist says, well, maybe Michael doesn't need that right now. So Ashley's like, so I should trust him, right? Like, he is telling the truth, right? And again, that's another reason why I refuse to put up with cheating, because I don't have the time or the mental capacity to sit up here and second guess myself and second guess you as to if you're telling the truth or not. If you cheat, I'm out. Period, point blank. You're not going to sit up here and have my self-esteem twisted. I don't think so. Now, I personally do not believe that Michael is gladly going without sex for 2 to 3 months. I don't see it. Then Ashley says that before their second son was born, they made a pact that they would have date nights. And she says that she's worried now because she feels like she's lost a piece of herself, like she doesn't know how to be romantic and sexy anymore. She feels goofy. I don't care what anybody says. That divorce storyline is coming sooner than we think. But again, I digress. We move on to Wendy. She's doing a photo shoot for her candle line, and she has her baby daughter Cameron and her mom there with her. Wendy's daughter is so freaking cute, okay? Like, I want her to make an appearance in every scene with Wendy. Like, Wendy's daughter is just adorable. Like, the little chubby cheeks, just like so cute. So anyhow, Wendy says that she's named the candles after her and her mom, and it's 3 generations in the photo shoot, and it's really cute. Now, as you guys know, Wendy's candle line debuted last weekend, and her line sold out. So Wendy, congratulations to you. I'm happy that you're here making your money, and it looks like you came out with your candle line before Karen did, because Karen's line still hasn't dropped yet. I guess 3-wick candles take longer to make. I don't know. While they're at the photo shoot, Wendy goes on to ask the photographer what he studied in college. He says that he studied engineering, but now he's a photographer because that's what he loves to do. So Wendy makes a joke and says, of course you studied engineering because you're African. Wendy goes on to say that in African families, they're very strict about education, and there really isn't any room to follow your true passions and dreams. Wendy turns to her mom and says, Mom, I couldn't chase my dreams earlier because I had to make you happy first. So now her mom's brushing her off like, Wendy, girl, please, like, you turned out fine. I did a good job raising you. Like, I don't want to hear all this now. So Wendy's like, no, Mom, you're not always right about things. Because of you and your expectations of me, I had to put what I wanted to do on the back burner to make you happy. Now, Wendy, I understand that you're frustrated at your mom. That's totally fine. You are completely free to feel how you feel. All right? But at the end of the day, you should not have put your mother's happiness before you. I know it's a lot easier said than done, but at the end of the day, you only have one life to live. Nobody else can live it for you. And you have to make yourself happy first. If you want to pursue a dream or a passion and your parents or your family does not believe in you, you need to tune out the noise and do you, regardless of what people say. Like, okay, you might disappoint your family for a minute, but I'm sure they'll come around when the money starts flowing. Then everybody will have believed in you. You know how it goes. But I just don't believe in letting people dictate how you should be living your life. If you have a passion, don't do something that you don't want to do to make a parent happy. They'll get over it. And if they don't get over it, well, it is what it is. So Wendy's mom gets up. She's like, you know what? I don't want to hear this. She's really pissing me off right now. I'm calling my Uber. So Wendy's like, Mom, don't leave. Like, okay, like, stop, Mom. Like, come back. And her mom gets up and leaves. She's like, shout out to everybody. I have fun. But again, Wendy, time and place, that wasn't the time or the place to have that deep heart-to-heart with your mama. And you piss your mama off because she was gone. We flip back over to another scene with Ashley. She's at the Watergate Hotel trying to have a very sexy date night with Michael. I said, now, bravo, you guys know that I love you down, but let's not and say we did when it comes to these sexy scenes with Michael and Ashley. No, thank you. Ashley has some little dress on. She's waiting for Michael to arrive. And did she say in her confessional that Michael once owned the Watergate Hotel? I was like, wait, what? He did? Let me know down in the comments if I heard that right. So anyhow, Michael arrives. Ashley opens the door. She has a big old Corona in her hand. I said, baby, it's supposed to be a sexy date night. Shouldn't you have 2 glasses of champagne? Champagne is the sexy drink, sis, not a Corona. Oh my gosh. Ashley, do you drink anything else besides beer? My goodness. Ashley starts feeding Michael some dessert. He's telling her how sexy she looks. She's like, oh my gosh, you think I'm sexy? Really, babe? I said, girl. So while she's feeding him dessert, the topic of the trip comes up and how Bassett was saying how he has no issue with Michael. Michael gets an attitude saying how he has no desire to speak to Bassett or Candace. He finds them both to be just annoying and like pretty much trash. I said, how dare you, Michael? I said, not you and your wife talking about anybody being annoying. Again, pot, meet, kettle. So now Michael brings up Juan and he's like, you know, I'm only going to talk to Juan. Like, Juan is my kind of people. He's a cool guy. He doesn't play games. Then he starts going on and on about his love for his main man, Juan. And when Bravo showed that footage of all the times when they would hang out and talk, or when Michael would be talking about Juan, I said, Bravo is so petty. And even Ashley was like, okay, enough already. And she like shut him up and starts kissing him. I said, what a shame. Y'all are on a supposed date night and he's talking about his true love. Tragic.
You know what? It's too much.
And when the producer was asking Ashley about Michael and Juan's bromance, I said, a bromance requires both parties to be involved. That's a one-sided romance that Michael has. That's unrequited love. Now, Ashley blindfolds Michael and they go into the bedroom and I guess they're about to have sex. Or I guess attempt to have sex without him turning her down. But I digress. So we move on to the final scene with Giselle and she's with her therapist. She tells her therapist about the conversation that she had with her daughters a few days ago and how she has trouble being emotionally available and vulnerable, and how she wants to be her best self for them. Then Gizelle brings up her reconnection with Jamal Bryant and how she wanted to get back together again because she wanted to get her family back together. So then she says that, he was looking at me a little bit differently with more respect, and I thought that we could make it work. She goes on to say how before the pandemic they would see each other all the time, and then with COVID it's not so much, and she's just kind of over it. So the therapist says to her that she needs to let her walls down in order to be so vulnerable, and she has to share more of her story and be more honest with her daughters. So the episode ends with Giselle saying that she's going to change and do better for her girls and be more vulnerable. Now, do I believe it? Not really, because it seems like Giselle says this all the time, because we've seen her in therapy sessions before in prior seasons, and nothing has changed. Again, this episode was a bit of a snooze fest. I'm looking forward to this season being wrapped up. The finale looks like it's going to be somewhat entertaining, but also irritating at the same time, because Michael Darby will be making an appearance and he'll be, turning things upside down like he usually does. But y'all, that was the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed my recap. And as always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you all later. Bye.